Greetings and welcome to Doragons Domain, episode number 6. I am Dorgan Kishu, Paladin and Dragon Rider. In episode 4, 2 episodes ago, I started the process of creating what I'm calling Frost Realm. And we did a lot of brainstorming, and I gave you ideas of some of the concepts, and like for instance, it's in the middle of these mountains, and snowy mountains, and it's part of a triangle. There's Frost Realm, which is an ice fortress, and then over here there's a giant tower, and then over here is a giant cave. Each of those are probably 100 to 300 yards away, creating, like I said, a triangle. Since our last episode, I decided that the tower would probably belong to the Knights of Dark Frost, which are the knights that serve Frost Realm. When I was working on it, populating and filling it, I actually forgot to put these knights into the fortress, or I forgot to put them on the first level. And then I decided I wanted to be a little more selective. I didn't want to just stuff the fortress with these really cool knights. So I did place a few within the higher levels of the fortress, which is going to be about 3 levels high. But for the most part, the Knights of Dark Frost are going to exist outside the fortress, protecting the fortress from people getting in. And now I believe this tower is going to be where their primary outpost. In my episode for part 1 of the Frost Realm creation, I also talked about how I had put out to Twitter, to the D&D Twitter community, asking if anybody would like to help me with the maps. I usually draw my own maps, but I thought I liked the concept of Frost Realm, and now that I'm connected with the community, I thought it'd be kind of cool to have people that were actually better at doing maps. A couple different people did approach me, and but as it turned out, I'll probably be doing them myself. In fact, I am doing them myself. One of them was going to help, but was pretty busy, so I kind of let him go. And the other one, it was kind of a bigger endeavor than he thought. So it's all cool. It was just another way of me trying to connect with the community, and also maybe improve from my concept to something even better with their drawings. But nonetheless, I went forth and did the drawings. One of the Dungeons and Dragons community out on Twitter, named Eric Buckhurt, who actually had I worked with a little bit before on some concepts that I did on my blog. He liked the idea of the triangle, the tower, the cave, and the ice fortress. He came up with an idea for the creature inside the cave. It's called a Remorhaz, which I think I've seen pictures of, but I've never. So I'm going to look into that. I'm probably going to have that as the creature in the cave. Also, he gave some suggestions naming the triangle area of the tower, fortress, and cave. And I'll put these suggestions on the screen. Great names. And then I was instantly inspired, mixed them up a little bit, and created this phrase. But I'm actually not sure exactly what I'm going to go with. I do like his original names, and I like what I did, but I'll figure it out. I might have Twitter do somewhere. I've been doing some Twitter polls, which is something new to me. One thing that I did is I did a Twitter poll on whether the dungeon of Frost Realm should be underneath the fortress, or if the entrance should be in the cave beyond the creature. And originally I had thought like it might be kind of cool to kind of have 2 entrances and have them connect, but then I decided, well, I'll do a poll on whether it should be one or the other. Then Hans here, who is a great guy, suggested that there be 2 entrances, and he thought it adds for different things. Again, some other people mentioned, I'll put these different names here, but I had feedback from several people about this, and in the end I ended up doing a poll. Originally I had a poll for whether it should be underneath or it should be in the cave. Changed the poll because of Hans mentioning of that idea, and it came out, well, at least before this video, it was like 60-something% thought that there should be 2 entrances. Some people said there should be one entrance since it's harder to get to, might give more satisfaction to the players, and others said maybe you should have a fake entrance. So there's all kinds of stuff you can do, and a lot of what I'm doing is things that people can use as a foundation. Like they can take what I create and then enhance it and make it their own, which is what my current dungeon 5e dungeon master is doing. He didn't have time for homebrew. I've mentioned this before, so I gave him some concept stuff that I created, and then he's just taken it and made it his own. A little more information about the Ice Fortress. The first level was going to have 30 chambers. It ended up with 32 chambers. The second level was going to be 18 chambers. It ended up with 22 chambers. And the third floor would have 5 chambers, which also there's added a couple there as well. Originally I was going to have the fortress get smaller as it went up, but I changed my mind. I decided I'm going to keep the whole thing the same size, but as you go to a next level, the rooms get bigger. I will say that populating and filling the fortress took a little time. My stuff may not be as detailed as other people's, but like I said, it's really to give more of a foundation for people to work with. Originally, for this episode 6, I was going to be doing talk about the populating of the Ice Fortress and also the dungeon, but I'm going to end up having to do the dungeon in the next DORAGONS domain. Actually, the next DORAGONS domain 7 will either be a recap of my group, which runs on Thursdays, or an update rather, or unless I get this dungeon one done before then. So we'll see. I did mention in episode 4 that I was going to talk about storyline a little bit behind the Frost Realm, and I did a little bit. I created Prince Terov is the ruler of Frost Realm, but he's ailing, and he has a wizard at his side named Norris Stat, who is kind of, he's either going to try to poison him or figure out a way to kind of overthrow him, or he's going to wait till he just dies. That's up to the dungeon master. But yeah, it's not a real friendly environment, but you know, it's kind of an evil environment. So yeah, so with the Knights of Dark Frost, like I had mentioned them before, but what I didn't mention was that in this large tower, I'm going to pour hundreds of them in there. That'll be their main place, like I mentioned before. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of Knights of Dark Frost surrounding this mountainous area and within the area closer to Frost Realm. So it's going to be difficult to get in there. Yeah, so I created a wandering monster table that's for the fortress itself. It includes a Frost Guard, which or the kind of a frozen skeleton warrior, as inspired by Will at Encounter Roleplay. And then I have White Orcs. These are ones that I created, and I'm going to have to create stats for that again, but they're basically hunter orcs, and they travel in white wolves, or just any wolves. I'm not sure. You know, it's more of it was more concept stuff. So blue orcs, they have to do. They're different. I have a bunch of blue orc archers inside this, and like I said, it's another kind that I'd created that I'll have to kind of recreate the actual stats on, but they're not the same as the white orcs. They're different. They both have resilience to cold, and I'll get into the specifics on it once I create them. Then I'm using black orcs, something I've created and used before, and you may have saw in some of my blog posts. They're generally highly intelligent, and they're often generals in armies. They're not ambitious enough to rule or to lead. To be like a leader, but they are, like I said, generals for armies, and they are badasses. Frost goblins, they might exist somewhere out there. If they don't, I'll create them. So they're just, exist in these colder regions. within the fortress, there's going to be ice statues, which will be fun. Also, I have as one frost knolls. Once again, these are colder region knolls. You know, I may have to change some of the specs on these kind of sort of hybrid creations. You know, definitely resistance to cold. Gonna have some hobgoblin captains within the fortress as well, and frost scouts, which are probably actually going to be human. And they're scouts. They go out and they kind of make sure, you know, nothing's coming into that area. So it's a pretty well protected area. I'll throw up pictures of the fortress here. They're not great. I'm not even using graph paper. Just really, like I said, it's foundation stuff to work with and conceptual, so level 1, 2, and 3. And then I have a sheet. What I do, I've mentioned this on my homebrew episodes, which were episode 2 and 3 of the DORAGONS domain, where I talked about homebrew land. But it's the same thing. I number each of the chambers, and then I create, you know, take sheets of paper and write 1, and then write what's in that room and any kind of information that I might, as a dungeon master, need. Whether it's, you know, specific creatures and maybe the page number to the monster manual, or, you know, anything like that. Like a guard one, we've got guard rooms, we've got halls, archer chambers. I kind of, when I was doing this, I added secret doors myself. I have not entered traps into any of this, but traps may not be in the fortress. Those might just be in the dungeon. So, got a kitchen, we got armories, dining hall, a conjuring room for the wizard. There's some women slaves for the prince in a couple different rooms. There's stables that have horses. Probably have the wolves sat down there for the white orcs too. Antechamber. Okay, never mind. Let's see. And then so and in each of these rooms I rolled, used that same wandering monster chart and kind of rolled and put some of these creatures from my wandering monster list in these different rooms. Then it makes sense I didn't do it. And then there's a wandering monster table, which is for, you know, during play when you have just, you know, patrols. So got a little temple there. Not sure what god they're gonna be bowing to, but probably have to create something or look something up. Now this is interesting. In level 2, I have the wizard Norastat's chambers. It's almost like it's his fortress. It's almost like a facade, which can be on purpose. You know, depends if you want. The prince may just want to be left alone, and he is level 3, right? So in level 2, you've got the Wizard of Norastat's. So he's got his master bedroom and different things. And then you go another level up, and you have the prince's chambers and everything. So, like I said, he could just be. The players could maybe not even know about the prince, and he's the true ruler. So, cool kind of thing too was the first poll that I did was I have. In the Wizard Norastat's level, which is level 2 of the fortress, I have 5 guest rooms, decent sized rooms. And I was trying to think of I wanted some kind of special characters in there. So I did a poll. I was thinking a prince werewolf, and a demon prince. I think the werewolf did the best on the poll out of like 25. It had like 40 something, and the demon prince was next. The other choices I had on there were possible ally humanoids or possible ally humans, an ambassador from each. Got a couple of votes for the humanoid ambassador. So I'm gonna put what's called I'm calling it a dark dwarf. I think it was a dark dwarf. Dark dwarf. That sounds kind of funny. Dark dwarf. Anyway, it may already exist, but if it doesn't, I'll just make it darker. And then I just didn't do a human ambassador, and I left 2 rooms as mystery. So that's completely up to the dungeon master to fill those two guest rooms. I did not fill those. So. And we got arts, like I said, the blue orc archers. We got paintings and tapestries throughout that are worth money. I didn't do a lot of that kind of stuff, but definitely open to do all kinds of stuff. There's a wizard's study that has magic books. There's like this roof area. It's like on the second level, but it's the roof of the first. It has just 40 hobgoblins just sitting there. So it's, you know. And then people that watch this, or if you don't want your people to watch this and you want to use this, you can always mix this stuff up. There's an arena. There's inside. It's, yeah. I also created something called a Dreadnought Dark Frost Champion, which is, you know, like the Knights of Dark Frost, but a bigger, scarier dude. I'm calling it a Dreadnought Dark Frost Champion. So yeah, so that gives you the gist of what's going on with the Fortress of Frostrealm. And like I said, in my next DORAGONS domain, it will be either an update on my 5e campaign, or it will be, I'll be talking about the Frostrealm part 3 of these videos that will be probably about the dungeon. So we'll see. That'll be it for now, and I will see you on Twitter.